Skill number 2 is listening and short-term memory. I put them together because people need to work on both. When I say listening, people go like this. I can listen to people. My listening skills are pretty good. When native speakers say something, I understand everything. And that's not my point. Of course, you understand everything at this point. And most likely, you understand the main idea. Take any movie scene, and actually I'm going to include one movie scene in the practical exercise that you're going to watch a few minutes later, and ask yourself, do you really understand every word that people are saying in this movie scene? Or are you trying to guess what you didn't understand and kind of judge by what you see, because you see a lot? If, let's say, it's a phone call, if it were a phone call, the same movie scene, if it were a phone call without any motion, without any images, would you understand what people are telling you? You got to be very honest at this point. Listening means intensive listening. Well, in this system of skills, it means intensive listening. It means the ability to understand every single word that people tell you. It means you can hear every preposition, every article, every contraction, and you know exactly what each of these elements means and what it's doing in the sentence. Because if you understand that, if you can hear it, if you can recognize it in other people's speech, it means you can say it yourself. You can use it yourself. The rule is very simple. We cannot repeat what we never hear. So if you don't hear the sound f or p, you say it your way. You say it differently. If you can't hear the sound, you cannot really repeat it. So you have to develop your listening skills that will dramatically improve your own pronunciation. And again, if you don't hear articles when native speakers talk, if you never pay attention to prepositions, well, this is the skill of being attentive. But articles is something that people genuinely do not hear. If you don't hear them, chances are very low that you're going to use them in your own speech. And it works in the other direction as well. It works the other way around. When you work hard on your pronunciation, when you improve the way you speak, your listening skills become so much better. Because now you can hear other people who are making the same sounds and who use the same vocabulary. So, short-term memory, why is that? Because when we listen to people, we always want to check understanding. At this point, we're not practicing our language skills or our English skills. At this point, we're learning to communicate more effectively in English. Communication always implies we're talking to people, maybe one person, maybe more people, but we're talking about the art of communicating. So when we listen to people in a situation, when we communicate with them, when we're having a conversation with them, we always want to check understanding. Do they understand what we tell them? And do they understand what we mean? In order to check understanding, to check if you understand what people tell you, you simply repeat what you think you have heard. And you go like this, if I hear you correctly, you mean that, and you repeat what you think you understand. Let me rephrase what you have just said so that we're on the same page. You mean that, and repeat what you think they told you. That is an amazing exercise. And every time I do this with people, it turns out that whatever they repeat is not really what the person said. And that's okay, because if you do it early, then another person has a chance to tell you, you know what, it's not really what I meant, but let me explain to you one more time what it is that I wanted to say. But very often people absolutely cannot repeat what other people told them or what they heard in a podcast or what they heard in a video. They think they heard it, but when they start giving it back, you immediately understand that they didn't hear it. And it's very important to do these exercises on your own first before you actually jump on a Zoom call or participate in very important negotiations or conversations. Develop the skill on your own. When you have a chance to watch a video, check your understanding, open the transcript, and actually see if you got it right. Listen to a podcast, pull up the transcript, and compare what you understand with what people actually said. This is why if you can't remember it, you can't repeat it. You get the point? Short-term memory means that you have to remember what people told you, or you have to remember what you have just heard so that you can repeat it. You cannot repeat it unless you remembered it. But you don't have to remember it for life, just for now, so that you can actually repeat it. That would be enough. Now, an exercise. An exercise to practice short-term memory and inquisitive listening is very simple, but it's not so easy to do. Take any video that you like, any podcast that you like. Just make sure that this video has a transcript, or this podcast or an audio material you're working with has a transcript as well. Make sure you have it so that you can check yourself. Work with 15 seconds. Start with 15 seconds and transcribe the 15 seconds of an audio piece or a video piece. Transcribing means you write down every single word that people said in the video or in a podcast. Every single word. If you hear something like gibberish, just write nothing, or write the sounds that you hear. Listen back and forth, and help yourself to fill in the gaps if you do have any gaps right there. And then when you understand that you cannot add any more information, that is the maximum of what you can hear, then check yourself. Pull up the transcript and compare your notes, your transcript, with the original transcript. And then it's a very important step. You have to do the math. You have to calculate how many percent you don't hear. So the number of words in the original transcript is your 100%. The number of words that you wrote down, well, you understand, is minus the words that you misunderstood, misheard, or didn't hear at all. So calculate the percentage. How many words did you actually miss? And then we can talk numbers, because when people say, oh, I understand 80% of what native speakers tell me, I always ask them, how did you make these calculations, right? If you don't know what is 100%, how can you know? So when you know what is 100%, you can do the math. And start here. You need to know what your number is today. Maybe you hear only 30%, and that's fine. Maybe you hear 80%, maybe you hear 75%. And don't be discouraged if your number is low, because some movie scenes are very difficult. Some accents are difficult. Some situations are difficult. In some situations, you might hear 95%. In some situations, you might hear 40 or 30%, and that's fine. But you need to operate with numbers if you really want to measure your results and continue improving your language skills toward native-like fluency. But transcribing anything you can find is a fantastic exercise. Transcribing movies, podcasts, TV series, anything where you can check yourself. Start with 15 seconds, and then if you like it and if you feel like you can do it, increase the amount of time you're working with by 5 seconds. 15, 20, 25, 35. If you have reached a minute, if you can work with a whole minute, send me a message and I'll make sure to give you some feedback on your work.